This November 6, 2025 meeting of the Dublin City Council is hereby called to order. I'd ask everyone to please stand for the invocation, which will be delivered by Councilman Sarah Colby, and please remain standing for the pledge to the flag. Councilman Colby.
Lord God, we just thank you for the privilege and honor to be here tonight. Lord, for our country, for our state, for our community. Lord, we thank you for the privilege of being here in an air-conditioned and heated room. For all of our employees here at the city and the hard work that they do to keep things running every day. Lord, we pray for wisdom as we make decisions. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I want to welcome everyone here this evening, and I want to thank the citizens of Dublin for turning out in large numbers for our election earlier this week. It's always great to see people exercising their democratic right to vote and have an opportunity to speak through the ballot box. And I think that we are happy to say today that we will have 3 council members joining us in January. Sarah Colby and Tess Godfrey will be returning, and Brandon Chain will be joining our group. Congratulations to Sarah, Tess, and Brandon for earning the support of the voters, and look forward to working with all of you in this upcoming term. So now we'll come to our agenda items. Our first agenda item is approval of the October 16th council meeting minutes. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion for approval.
We have a motion from Councilman Griggs. Do we have a second? Second. A second from Councilman Mascara. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 2 on the agenda is approval of bills over $15,000. You've been supplied in your council packet a list of all the bills over $15,000. Any comments on those, Mr. Powell?
No, sir.
All right. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilman Griggs, a second from Councilman Jones. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. We'll now move to item number 3, which is approval of purchases over $15,000. We have 2 of those this evening. Mr. Powell, if you'll talk with us about the cemetery mapping services and the public works tractors, please.
First item is for Public Works, is cemetery mapping services. This will be to do digital mapping and ground penetrating radar of the 3 cemeteries that the city has. And the reason for this is that we have a pretty antiquated system right now of tracking our cemeteries, and so we're hoping to get this digitized and in good shape so that we can give accurate information to the public about where people are buried and what plots we may have available in the future. The only provider that responded that was qualified was Omega Mapping Services. That will meet our needs for this project, and we budgeted $100,000 for this. And that is dictated, the cost of it is associated with the acreage that's involved, and we have some pretty large cemeteries. But the quote came in at $95,952, and staff recommends that council approve a contract with Omega Mapping Services for this to be done. The second purchase is for 2 Massey Ferguson 4710 4-wheel drive cab tractors for our Public Works Department. We have a substantial amount of right-of-way that we use these tractors for to maintain and keep cut. And so if we don't have these tractors working, unfortunately we've got 2 that are down and in bad shape and need to be replaced, then the public knows very quickly, and we get phone calls about how grown up the right-of-way is. So we would like to ask council to purchase these tractors under a statewide contract pricing terms. The total is $142,465.04. This was not originally budgeted. We've unfortunately run into some of the problems with the tractors we have and need to go ahead and replace them now. But fortunately, we do have 2024 SPLOST dollars that we can use for this purchase that we've gotten through interest revenue and some additional revenue that was above what we had budgeted for the year.
All right, great. Thank you for that. And I just want to make a couple of comments about the cemetery mapping. The city has 3 cemeteries. The old cemetery, which is behind First Methodist Church, which is where some of the oldest graves are. We have Across the Creek Cemetery, which over the last few years we spent a good bit of time and resources trying to get that cleaned up and have burial marker or have crosses put out there Our former mayor, Julie Drigger, sort of spearheaded that effort. That was probably back in 2022. And then we have the largest cemetery, Northview, which is an active cemetery, and that is probably what sort of caused this initial look at doing these services, is trying to figure out where we have lots still available to sell to the public at Northview Cemetery. And but in addition to being able to allow the city to sell those additional lots at Northview, one of the things that will come out of this project is photographs of all the existing burial markers, and those photographs will be in an online resource, so that if you're doing any kind of genealogy research or family research, you'll be able to see who is buried out there, along with photographs of the grave markers. So there's, of course, there's the ground penetrating radar that will be able to allow us to find the unmarked graves as well. Do we have any comments from council about either of these items?
Did they estimate how long it would take to do this? As far as,
I believe that we should have, they're going to start by doing the ground penetrating radar on the unmarked graves, I think is what I understood, to see what might be available still. And so the exact time of how it's going to take them, I'm not exactly sure. Do you know, Robbie?
They're gonna start Northview in December, and then they'll just keep going after that.
I don't know the exact timeline.
I just was
I
curious.
think they plan on being done March or April, sometime like that, but it's the time-consuming process.
And this is general fund that we budgeted from last?
It
okay.
is general fund.
Okay, and the other is sales tax revenue. The tractors are coming from our SPOS.
Lost.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right. Do we have a motion related to these two items?
Second.
All right. So we have a motion from Councilman Brown, a second from Councilman Colby. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right. We'll now move to item number 4 on the agenda, which is a second reading and public hearing on an ordinance to provide for RV parks in the city of Dublin. Mr. Powell.
This is ordinance number 2510, an ordinance by the mayor and city council of the city of Dublin, Georgia, to amend the code of ordinances by amending Appendix A, which is called zoning, to provide for a new section with comprehensive regulations for the safe and orderly development of recreational vehicle parks in the city of Dublin and for other lawful purposes. This ordinance, currently we do not have any regulations specific to RV parks. And so if the council were to decide to allow RV parks to be developed, or if we were to annex in any, we would like to have some regulations on the books. This would allow for recreational vehicle parks to become a conditional use that would require planning and zoning approval within the B2, which is the highway-oriented business zone. And so some of the highlights from the ordinance are that it would require a minimum park size of 5 acres. The highest density could be 7 campsites per developable acre. No permanent structures such as decks could be erected on each site, and no more than 50% of the sites could be long-term. And long-term is defined as any stay longer than 45 days. So this is the second reading of the ordinance, and is ripe for council to have a public hearing on.
All right, so this is the RV park ordinance. We will now close our council meeting and open a public hearing to receive public comments regarding this proposed ordinance. Now is your opportunity. If you'd like to make a public comment about this proposed ordinance, please come forward. I want to make sure that everybody in the public has an opportunity to comment before council addresses this. All right, it looks like there's no one who wishes to comment, so we will close the public hearing and turn this over to council for action.
I make a motion to postpone this decision until the next meeting, November the 22nd.
Okay, so we have a motion to table this until November is it 20th or 22nd?
20th?
20th.
20th, sorry.
Okay, till our next meeting, which is November 20th. Does that motion have a second?
Second.
All right, so we have a motion from Councilman McCalby, a second from Councilman Griggs, and I'll just maybe, we talked about this in pre-council, so I just want to give the public some indication of why we're wanting to table this. We had a good and healthy discussion about how long the long-term stays could be at the RV park, and we want to make sure that that these, if we do allow these parks, that they still look good and that they don't turn into basically long-term housing for people. So we had that discussion. We also had some discussion about how close any RV parks should be to existing neighborhoods, and we want to make sure that we protect our neighborhoods in town. So we've asked staff to go back and just look at, see if we can make some technical changes to the document that might make sure that we're protecting those two things, and then that'll come back to us at the next council meeting. But we went ahead and held the public hearing today so that we could receive any comments from the public before we went back and tried to make some slight modifications. Any comments, now that I've made those sort of introductory comments, any other comments from council members? All right, if not, we have a motion and a second to table until November the 20th. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
If any are opposed, nay. The ayes have it. This matter will come back to council on November 20th. We'll now move to item number 5 on the agenda, which is a second reading and public hearing on a rezoning ordinance. Mr. Powell.
This is ordinance zoning map amendment 2515, an amendment to the official zoning map of the city of Dublin, Georgia, as previously amended for the purpose of rezoning 0.24 acres more or less of property located at parcel D16D024, which is 500 South Church Street, Dublin, Georgia. 0.24 acres more or less of property located at parcel D16D023, which is 502 South Church Street, Dublin, Georgia. 0.18 acres more or less of property located at parcel D16D021, which is 504 South Church Street, Dublin, Georgia. And 0.21 acres more or less of property located at parcel D16D020, 506 South Church Street, Dublin, Georgia, from M1 as it's currently zoned, which is warehousing and light industry zone, to R1 single family residential zone. The proposed use is for single residential living.
Okay, so you've heard this proposed rezoning ordinance. We'll now close the city council meeting and open a public hearing to receive comment from anyone in the public, any citizen who would like to make comments regarding this proposed rezoning.
I would like to make a comment, please.
All right, please come on up.
I'm having a difficult time standing up today. If I could have some assistance, please. Thank you. Do I have to say my name and all that other stuff, sir?
Yes, please.
Good evening, my name is Jacqueline Denise Jadon Wright, and I live at 501 South Church Street. So I do have a comment about this. All right. If I'm looking at this thing correctly, you want to zone it as residential, correct? Okay. I have no problem of you zoning it residential. But I have a problem with the resident, or if there is supposed to be a resident at 500, which, if it is a resident, there isn't any, how can I put this? The garbage, how I determine people live there legally is if they have trash pickup with the blue trash can and the green trash can. And at the corner of 500 South Church Street, there is someone or something or some people that have decided to congregate there, and they just put trash on the corner, and they're expecting the city to come pick up their trash, debris. 502 is okay. Well, in between 501 and 502, I don't know if it belongs to the city or whether it belongs to a private residence, but it's starting to become an eyesore for me at 501 because there are people who are coming through and they are throwing debris in a lot that's growing up to look like trees, and I don't know, it's right away. I'm a new homeowner, and it's starting to get unnerving to me that I'm trying to set a standard on my street where people pick up their trash, and that's the Church of the Nazarenes there, and people are throwing anything and everything. And then we have possums, and we have a lake this or whatever this behind there, and it's all kinds of rabbits and we saw a deer come through there. So something needs to be done before you all turn it to residential. Whoever owned it as manufacturing, you have the what is it? The cemetery people. It's a mess. It's really a mess. The city manager has come out. He's looked. Please help. That's all I got to say. I rest my case.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Wright. And again, this is a public hearing, so this is an opportunity to provide comments from the citizens. Any other citizens have comments about this Church Street rezoning proposal? Okay, if there are no other comments, we will close the public hearing and turn this over to council for action. Do we have a motion?
Motion to rezone.
We have a motion from Councilman Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Councilman Smith. Any comments on the rezoning motion application here?
We'll make sure we get that checked out for you, Miss. Sarah.
Each of these lots are less than 0.2 acres. Is that what I understood? So the total parcels, the 4 parcels, are less than a total acre, but each of those are buildable as a single-family residential lot, even though they're that small. Is that correct?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
And the rezoning of this should offer improvement to the
Yes.
current situation with single-family residents there.
Correct.
All right, any other comments? Okay, if there are no other comments, then we will have a vote. I believe this requires a roll call vote, so I'll ask Mr. Daniels to call the roll.
Councilman Brown,
Yes.
Councilman Jones,
Yes.
Councilwoman Colby,
Yes.
Councilman Briggs,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Councilman Mascaro.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
All right, the ordinance passes. This property is now rezoned as single-family residential, and we hope to see some positive development in that area. Thank you again for your comments, Ms. Wright. We'll now move to item number 5, which is the second reading and public hearing of an ordinance to amend the zoning code for buffer zones, parking lot requirements, and fence requirements. Mr. Powell.
That's
This-
6.
Item 6.
Item 6.
Oh, I'm sorry. If I didn't say it properly, it's item 6 that we're moving to now.
We're meaning to do 2516, right? Ordinance 2516, did you want me to go ahead and just read B?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 2516B, an ordinance by the mayor and city council of the city of Dublin, Georgia, to establish authority to create and amend the zoning code sections regarding buffer requirements, fence requirements, and parking lot requirements for the city of Dublin, to provide for severability, to repeal all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, to provide an adoption and effective date, and for other lawful purposes. This ordinance addresses a few different things, as was outlined in the title. But the first thing is to kind of beef up our buffer zone requirements. It provides a little more flexibility for staff in reviewing these to look at the surrounding properties and the surrounding developments to make sure that the buffer requirements make sense for the particular area that may be developed. And requires a minimum buffer of 10 feet and up to a maximum of 50 feet. And that would be determined on a case-by-case basis. And it does encourage the use of existing vegetation when at all possible. The additional change is specific to public housing developments, and it allows for a minimum parking requirements to be in line with what DCA requires, which is the Department of Community Affairs. And so it would result in a reduction of the required parking spaces in many circumstances. That would be one change in the ordinance. The final change is regarding fences and would require a fence to, first of all, have a permit from the city and review by the city before a fence could be erected. And it also requires that any fence that is more than 4 foot tall, 42 inches tall, would require a permit. And then it also requires that an exemption for landscaping type fencing that is 42 inches or shorter to be not require a permit. I think I covered everything there.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff in there, but it's...
All right, so you have heard the ordinance. It addresses some issues that we've had basically with with code enforcement issues in town, and it provides some greater certainty and to homeowners, and also some greater flexibility with staff to deal with particular situations. But at this time, we will have a public hearing on it. So we're going to close the city council meeting and open a public hearing to receive any comments from any citizens who want to speak on this proposed ordinance. Ms. Wright, are you okay?
Yes, I am.
All right.
I think I can do this. Good evening, Chaplain Jadon Wright, 501 South Church Street. Okay, I only have a comment about the fence requirements. Okay, I understand getting them up, but what about these properties that have fences already up and they're halfway coming down? Is this ordinance going to address taking them down, mending them? Half of them are torn up, the other part is up. It makes the whole city look terrible. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? Any other citizens' comments? All right, it looks like there's no one else who wishes to speak on the ordinance, so we will close the public hearing and turn this over to council for action. Before we have any comments from council, let's just make sure we've got a motion and a second. Do we have a motion?
Motion to accept the B.
We have a motion from Councilman Jones. Do we have a second? A second from Councilman Mascara. Okay, so comments on the ordinance. Mr. Powell, do you want to address Ms. Wright's concern about how this affects existing fences?
We can, that would be kind of separate from this. Do I know?
I said that would be covered on inspection, right?
Yeah, I think that code enforcement, if you'll just let us know if you've got a particular fence in mind that you're talking about, we can get code enforcement out to make sure it's not a nuisance and handle it through code enforcement. But I will say that this ordinance does not affect any existing fence that's out there now. We can't retroactively apply the law to fences that are already in existence. But any new fence that is constructed, or if an existing fence gets damaged or falls down or whatever and has to be replaced, then it would have to comply with the new zoning ordinance.
I think it's, we've had some issues in town that have brought these ordinance to us, the proposed ordinance. We've had commercial zones that are next to residential zones. And, if in they're clearing the lot, they end up clearing all the way to the back line of the lot. And now if you're in a house, you may be looking at or listening to the noises from a commercial establishment. So this will give the city planner and city manager the ability to require a buffer zone to protect the sight lines and the sound for our existing neighborhoods. So I think that's really important. We've had some issues where maybe the buffers in our current ordinance, it wasn't clear what you were supposed to do or not supposed to do. And so this is part of protecting our neighborhoods and our residents in town. And then on the parking requirements for public housing, as many people know, we're undergoing the redevelopment of a portion of our public housing. When the designers of the public housing came in, they were saying that our requirements were higher for parking spaces than what the Department of Community Affairs requirements were. And it was going to cost more money to basically asphalt out and build these additional parking spaces. So what this does is it puts us consistent with what the Department of Community Affairs says is the right number of spaces for these public housing units. And it'll end up saving us some money with that. And then with the fences, one of the things that bothers me is when I go through residential neighborhoods and I see barbed wire fencing in a front yard. And so that's just not appropriate in our residential neighborhoods. And, if one person does that, it affects all the neighbors on the street. So this is we tried to take as light a hand as possible. So if you're just doing a 4-foot picket fence in your front yard, that's fine, that's no problem. But if you are a 42-inch one, which is about the height of a regular picket fence, but if you want to build something taller than that in your front yard, you just can't do it. You want to put barbed wire in your yard, you can't do that in a residential area. So this is, if you're wanting to build these larger fences, you got to come to the city and say, hey, this is what I need to do, and there's a reason for it. But a lot of this is aimed at protecting our residential neighborhoods. And so that's why these three ordinances were here. Now, I know I spoke a little bit, but I just want to provide a little explanation for that. Any other comments from council regarding this?
I think that's also important on the, when you're, your sight, line of sight, as you're making turns in residential areas or neighborhoods or anywhere that you can actually see to make that turn safely. So that's important as well.
All right, anything else? All right, so we have a motion and a second. I believe this requires a roll call vote. Mr. Daniels?
Councilman Brown,
Yes.
Councilman Jones,
Yes.
Councilwoman Paul,
Yes.
Councilman Griggs,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Councilman Mascaro.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
All right, thank you for that, and we'll now move to item number 7 on the agenda, which is setting the tax millage rate for 2025. Mr. Powell?
This is Resolution 2552, a resolution by the Mayor and Council of the City of Dublin to direct and approve the assessment, levy, and collection of the 2025 City of Dublin final tax millage for the operation and maintenance of the City of Dublin, to authorize and direct the City Treasurer and City Tax Marshal to assess, levy, and collect said ad valorem taxes and for other lawful purposes. And this year, the council has directed staff, and we've advertised that we will be adopting the rollback rate, the full rollback rate, which for us is 4.497 mils. Last year's rate was 4.6. We are expecting that revenues from this collection, if we had 100% collection, it would be just over $3.5 million. And I'd just like to point out, I know that oftentimes people will make comments about the city's use of property taxes and that kind of thing, but our entire budget is just below $90 million. And so, as you can see, the amount that we use to operate your local government is very minimal compared to that budget. So I think this council has done a really good job of utilizing all the resources we have to make sure we have grant funding and that we use our enterprise funds like we should, and that we keep property taxes as low as possible. So this millage rate would be, if I go back and look at the history of Dublin's millage rate, I think this is the lowest we've ever had, at least in the last, I won't say ever had, in the last, say, 10 years.
Longer than that.
Yes, so I was actually just trying to find, I know I came in 2022.
Last
20 years?
Yeah.
At least the last 20 years.
So in 2022, when I think a lot of us started, it was about 6.5, and we did an actual tax cut, which is more than the rollback rate. And then in 23, we did the rollback rate. In 24, we did the rollback rate. And now this year, we're proposing to do the rollback rate. So we're getting it under 4.5 to 4.497. And I think this is possible because of our aggressive use of grant funds and the successful management of our enterprise funds, and really the good work that our city employees do in running the city pretty efficiently, so that we're able to provide a lot of services at a very low tax rate. Any other? Well, actually, we need to start with a motion before we have discussion. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion from Councilman Mascaro to adopt the rollback rate. Councilman Brown has seconded that motion. All right, so further discussion on the motion? Anybody want to make additional comments about it? All right, with no other comments, all those in favor, let's do raising hands on this one so that we, it's not voice. So all those in favor, please raise your hand. If any is opposed, please raise your hand. All right, so that is going to be a 5 to 0 to 1 abstention. Is that correct? Did you abstain?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I didn't hear the vote.
Okay, so
I'm for it. Yeah.
all right, so that's going to be, so Mr. Jones is for that, so that's going to be a 6 to 0 vote in favor of rolling back the millage rate to the full rollback rate. All right, so we'll now move to item number 8 on the agenda, which is discussion and action on a resolution for a memorandum of understanding between the Development Authority and YKK for capital investments. Mr. Powell.
This is Resolution 2553, a resolution by the Mayor and Council of the City of Dublin to acknowledge a memorandum of understanding between the City of Dublin and County of Lawrence Development Authority and YKK AP America Incorporated for bond-financed personal property improvements and payments in lieu of taxes, to authorize the mayor to execute and deliver the same, to provide for an effective date, and for other lawful purposes. Representatives from YKK came to the Development Authority some months ago now and discussed an interest in making an investment in modernizing some of their processes by installing new equipment at the facility here in Dublin, and I believe they've been looking at potentially other facilities where they might make this investment. And so they were working with the Development Authority on what they might could do as far as financing the project. And this agreement between the Development Authority and YKK is where they will be issuing bonds to finance the project. The Development Authority will own the project and all the investment that's made. And because of that, and the Development Authority being an authority, they are a tax-free authority, and so the property would not be subject to taxation. But the company has agreed to make payments in lieu of taxes at the negotiated percentages that you see there. They will be making the $50 million investment over a 5-year period of time. And so for each year's investment, they would have 5 years of abatement, as you see there on the schedule. So the total investment and total abatement period would last for up to 10 years. And I see that Mitch Griggs, the president of the Development Authority, is here in the audience in case the council has any questions. But it's my understanding that this investment will be made locally. It does not affect their other taxes that they're paying on property that they own. And it does amount to additional taxes for the city that we wouldn't get if they don't make this investment here. In addition to that, they are going to maintain a certain level of employment, and that's my understanding. They're going to have jobs that transition to higher wage jobs and higher skilled jobs as a result of this new equipment they'll be installing. We are required as a taxing authority to acknowledge the agreement, and it's kind of a checks and balance for the city council to know what the Development Authority is doing. And so our acknowledgement is required, I think, by law. So again, Mr. Griggs is here in case the council has any questions.
Yeah, actually, Mr. Griggs, we had some questions at pre-council, so if you don't mind, do you mind coming up for just 1 second? And I don't want to speak for anybody, but I believe that the general consensus of council is that this is a positive deal for the city because we'll be generating about $250,000 in additional revenue from the payments in lieu of taxes that we wouldn't get if YKK didn't make that $50 million investment. The only question that we had was related to the school system and how, if were they involved in this? Are they aware of this process? I know at the time that this was negotiated, was Superintendent Williams involved in this process at that time?
They were. I had a meeting with the superintendent and the chairman of the school board.
Which one that was?
Another school board member. And we talked for some time about it and explained how it all worked and everything. So, and they were supportive of our doing this.
Okay. So the one thing that we just wanted to make sure is we didn't want this to be a surprise to the school system. Mm-hmm. And so, go ahead, Councilman Jones.
Which chairman it was? I've spoken with school board members. Matter of fact, I mentioned about the abatements, especially certain ones, and they swear that none of the board members knew. All of them said and said they knew nothing about the abatements or anything. So I'm curious to know which chairman that was at that. What board members at that meeting?
You have to forgive me because I'm still learning everybody's names. But who's the chairman of the school board?
Chairman Kenny Walters is the current chairman.
So he was there, and we talked for 3 hours.
And there was an agreement with this here.
Yes, sir. So went over the entire MOU or memorandum of understanding that included the pilot agreement. What we're looking at is a piece of the pilot agreement, but it's tranched, as the city manager just mentioned, because YKK is doing the investment over a 5-year period. It's $50 million. Normally on these kind of projects, a company comes in, they build a factory, they put all the money in at once. Because this is an expansion, they're doing this expansion over a 5-year period, still totaling $50 million. And so the pilot, or a payment in lieu of tax schedule or tax savings schedule, is tranched to that. So that's what the city manager was referencing of the overall period extending for the next 10 years, because each of those years has a 5-year tax savings schedule associated with it. But we did speak for in the superintendent's office for 3 hours about this project.
Was that earlier this year or a year?
Oh, this year. I can look up the date, but it was probably August or September.
Now, my next question would be, I attended a class, economic development class with University of Georgia. This abatement, I guess we would say scale is adequate. Other cities have gone away from it because it do hurt the school boards. It do hurt their school system. They have other ways of doing abatements and doing things to help companies. Because we look at seeing what other cities do besides, because every company come in, I mean, expansion and all, they don't do this anymore. The guy that taught the class specifically said this is out because we're doing things. I know we can't do it. We've been doing this in the past, but let's just be real. This is where it's got part of, I'm not going to say all of it, but we got to be truthful about it. It's part of the reason why our school system is where it's at, because they're losing money on these abatements that we've been giving companies over the past. So could we look at doing it another different, trying to find out what other cities do to attract them? It's a reason to attract them to do the same thing and get the same thing, expansions and all of that, without actually doing stuff like this. I'm just asking.
I'd be super interested in speaking with the gentleman that taught that particular class that you attended through the Vincent Institute. The vast majority of economic development projects of any scale usually involve an IRB or an industrial revenue bond issuance and associated pilot or tax abatement schedule. The few of scale don't, simply because projects are very competitive, so companies are looking for it, and 9 times out of 10 they'll wind up somewhere, wherever they are, with some form of tax savings schedule associated with it. But the important thing about abatement schedules are, and I think the city manager said it earlier, you are not abating existing taxes. So today YKK has substantial investment on the ground. They came in part originally 25 years ago because a deal was struck where there was a tax savings schedule associated with it. Over time, YKK has done a number of expansions. I think this is their 4th expansion. They're now our largest industrial employer at 550 people. So they're here, they continue to make investment, and I'm not sure what it is, but actually we looked up what they're currently paying in taxes, and it's significant, and a significant part of the city and the school systems and the county's budget. But this deal has nothing to do with that. That investment's already on the ground. It's being taxed at 100%. So this is only associated with that new $50 million. And I guess in the simplest terms, unless we abated 101% of taxes, which of course we're not doing, it's still a net positive, because you're not abating what you don't already have. You're only foregoing a portion of new tax revenue. So it's always a net positive.
Mr. Griggs, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Did I hear you right in pre-council and again? So the Development Authority is an authority that's appointed, and they can act how they choose because we've given them the autonomy to do that. If they chose to not take any taxation, and they have that choice, is that correct? Based on them, because you can't tax that authority. So if they chose to just go on with the project, they don't have to do this as an authority anyway, correct? This is kind of them saying, hey, YKK is willing to be a partner in the community, and we're willing to take on this project as well. Is that?
That's correct. I mean, it's the basic construct of the industrial revenue bond. The industrial revenue bond is issued. The Development Authority is statutorily enabled to issue it. It's a form of financing, but once it's issued, the authority actually holds title to those project assets.
And they can't be taxed.
As an entity that is exempt from taxation, those assets would otherwise be non-taxable.
Right.
So as not to deprive the community, both the city and the county and the school system, unduly of tax revenues, we negotiate a pilot where the company makes a partial payment Could be 50%, 60%, 70%, whatever that percent is that's necessary to bring the investment to the community, so that the community does experience a net positive in tax revenue.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad you're here because we had a question about, nobody wants to spring a surprise on the school board or anything. So I think that you answered that question, that you met with the chairperson, went through all this, met with the superintendent at the time, went through all this, and that and you're representing that there were no objections from the chairman of the school board and the superintendent at the time that you discussed it.
Right.
Okay.
They supported the effort.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Griggs? Mr. Brown?
No, I just want
Councilman
to,
Brown?
again, clarify, the way this deal is set up, the Development Authority is the owner of the assets, the owner of the project. And as Mr. Mascaro was stating, what YKK, I mean, quite frankly, they could not pay anything, but they've agreed to pay in this step process, not the taxes, but a payment to the community. Is that my understanding?
That's correct, because technically, legally speaking, all the assets are exempt from ad valorem
Right.
taxes because they're titled with the Development Authority. So we negotiate with the company to make a payment in lieu of taxes.
Right.
But it functions in much the same way as a tax. It's revenue to the community. It's not revenue to the Development Authority. It's
Right.
revenue to the city and the county and the school system.
Right.
Well, YKK has, and I think every 100% agreement that YKK has been a fantastic partner with Dublin and Lawrence County for over 25 years. I believe that they are one of our largest private employers and one of our largest taxpayers and one of our largest utility users. So we've derived, not to mention a lot of high-wage jobs. So I think that everybody's very excited that they're investing another $50 million in that facility, making sure that they continue in Dublin and Lawrence County. And this investment in upgrading and modernizing the plant is going to be great news for our community for the next 10 years because it locks them into Dublin and Lawrence County, and hopefully we'll have this great relationship that will continue for long to come. So we just wanted to make sure from this point of view that all our partners and our other government entities that would be affected by this, that make sure that they were at the table and understood what was happening too.
Yes, sir, and we will always do that. We'll always have discussions with the city and the county and the school system before we make a deal, as it were.
Okay, great. All right, thank you, Mr. Griggs. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much for your time and for coming this evening. And at this time, do we have a motion?
I have a motion to approve.
I second.
All right, so we have a motion to approve the MOU. We have a second from Councilman Colby. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
If any are opposed, nay.
No.
All right, the ayes have it. And thank you, Mr. Griggs, again for coming. Look forward to working with YKK on their investment in Dublin and Lawrence County. Item number 9 on the agenda is a resolution to support the historic tax credit program through the state of Georgia. Mr. Powell.
This is Resolution 2554, a resolution by the Mayor and Council of the City of Dublin, Georgia, to urge the Georgia State Legislature to preserve, renew, and/or expand the Georgia State Income Tax Credit Program for rehabilitated historic property, to authorize the mayor to execute the same, set an effective date, and other lawful purposes. We've been notified by Ms. Glenda Berry, the Executive Director of the Downtown Development Authority, that the Georgia Historic Tax Credit Program is set to be essentially tapped out of funding. They have a cap each year on how much, the state has set a cap on how much funding is available for each tax year. And the program was set to run through 2029, but they've already promised future years tax savings away for projects. And so for the next 4 years, by the end of this calendar year, it's set to have no funding available for other projects for the next 4 years, unless the state legislature takes action. And so the sole purpose of this resolution is to join with the Downtown Development Authority, as well as the Georgia Historic Trust and the Georgia Downtown Association and other DDAs and cities and counties around the world, maybe around the world, around Georgia, to encourage their local legislators to take action, to introduce legislation to fund this, to extend the program and increase the funding available for these projects. And just to kind of bring it home for everybody, many of the projects that you see that took place, that have taken place over these last several years in the downtown area benefited from historic tax credits and likely would not have happened had those not been available. So it does mean something to Dublin. And so taking this stance officially by the city council to encourage our local representatives to take action would be appropriate if the council sees fit.
All right, so you've heard the description of the resolution. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion from Councilman Mascara. Do a second?
Either way.
Who do we have a second from? Councilman Brown? All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? I'll just say personally that I think this is a great idea. It's very expensive to renovate historic buildings that are in bad shape, and I know that I know of at least four,
3 or 4 projects.
yeah, probably 4 projects in downtown Dublin that would not have happened except for this tax credit program, including the skyscraper and the Henry
Skyscraper,
building,
the Henry building,
Kingfisher
Stubbs,
building, the Curry
Stubbs.
Maffitt building.
of stuff.
So there's been
The post office, is that?
the old post office. So there's been multiple buildings in our downtown that have benefited from this program. So this would just show our town's support of continuing funding that program. So we have a motion and a second. Any other comments? If there are no other comments, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right. Now, this is one that's good news for citizens of Dublin and the people who visit here during the day. This is a resolution for resurfacing projects for the fiscal year 2025. Mr. Powell.
I hate that Councilwoman Godfrey's not here tonight. This is right up her alley. Resolution 2555, a resolution by the mayor and council of the city of Dublin, Georgia, to award a bid to Reeves Construction Company for the 2025 resurfacing project, to authorize the city manager to approve change orders, to set an effective date, and for other lawful purposes. Each year we receive local maintenance grant for our roads to make those improvements throughout the year, and they require a local match of 10%. In addition, this year the state, like they did last year, amended their FY25 budget and provided additional funding that did not require a match. So we have a good chunk of money there, $632,000 to spend on resurfacing. The bid from Reeves for the streets that you see listed there on your screen, came in at $587,741 and so we ask that you award the project to Reeves. We've used them before and had success. I don't think anybody could say we have a favorite resurfacing company, because I think over the last several years we've used a different one each year. So and I will add too, we've added our resurfacing projects to our display boards out front here in City Hall. So if you're curious about the streets and where they are located that have been resurfaced over the last several years, you can take a look at that. Oh, there you go. The ones in, what is that, red, the dark red is the proposed list for this year. That's going to be under this contract, and then you can see the prior years are there in green, orange, and yellow. And Mr. Bradshaw, you told me the mileage, and now I've forgotten it. I didn't write it down.
3.6.
We'll have 3.6 miles of roads resurfaced in Dublin, which is a lot.
Yeah, that's it's 18 streets, 3.6 miles of resurfacing, over $500,000. So, yes.
Out of curiosity, there's about $45,000 left between Reeves' bid and what we've got budgeted. Would there be the opportunity to add another street? Of course, I don't know what the cost would be.
Sure.
But could it be looked at possibly?
And we've got that list. We keep running lists of the worst streets in town, and that's how we come up with this resurfacing list. They're rated each year. And so we'll look at the next few streets and see what makes sense.
Right.
The next street may be a long stretch, so we might have to go to another one that's shorter. But
I know we've done that in the past, and I was just going to encourage that.
That's the purpose of the language in there that allows me to approve change orders, so we can choose the next streets and get them done as well.
Well, and for the public's information, we try to make this a sort of a non-political process about what streets get resurfaced. We rely on our engineering department to survey the streets in town and objectively tell us which ones are in the worst condition. And then they have their 50 worst streets list, and then we just go down the list, and it's a continuously rolling list. So it's great that we're getting to 18 of them, at least 18 of them this year.
18 of the 50.
And I don't know if y'all remember, but early on, after this council was elected, there was some ladies that came and spoke from Eleanor Drive, and so they're on the list. So I'm glad. Make sure you go see them and let them know we're resurfacing there. It'll probably be after the first of the year that they actually come and do this work, but we'll get on their schedule as soon as y'all approve this.
Their number came up. So.
Yeah, their number came up.
All right. Do we have any other questions or comments? I don't believe we had a motion yet, did we?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right. So we have a motion to approve from Councilman Brown. I think Councilman Colby aggressively jumped in for the second there. So we have a second from Councilman Colby. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Let's move to our final item of the evening, item number 11, which is declaration of surplus. Mr. Powell.
We have, for everyone's enjoyment, some fine items that are slightly used from the city of Dublin: a police patrol vehicle, bush hog, some machinery from our shop, a air compressor from our water construction division, and then some small landscaping equipment. If you want a side business and want to help us with our Rock the Block effort, you might could get these in tuned up and help us cut some grass. So
All right. So
it'll be up for sale on Gov Deals.
do we have a motion?
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilman Griggs, a second from Councilman Mascara to approve the declaration of surplus. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any are opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and that concludes our business items for this evening. So now is the time for citizens' comments. If you're a citizen and would like to make a comment this evening, now is your opportunity. Just come on forward. We'll give you 3 minutes, and anything that relates to the City of Dublin, we're happy to hear from you. All right. It looks like there's no one who would like to make a comment this evening, so we will close the citizens' comment period, and we'll now have council and staff comments. Our city attorney, Mr. Groover, any comments this evening? Thank you. Our city treasurer and interim clerk, Mr. Daniels. All right. Councilman Brown.
I just want to thank everybody for being here. I want to congratulate those that were victorious in the most recent election. Look forward to serving again with Sarah Colby and Tess Godfrey, and look forward to serving with Brandon Chain and getting to know him better. And I'm going to keep my comments short. My voice is kind of scratchy, but everybody have a good evening.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Brown. Councilman Jones.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out, and once again, echo what you said. Like everyone that had voted, went out and voted and did your civic duty. And congratulations to all the winners: Councilman Colby, Councilwoman Godfrey, and Councilman upcoming Council-elect Brandon Chain. Look forward to working with everyone. And just remember, next Tuesday is Veterans Day. You know, a veteran, thank them for their service and all they done and the sacrifices that they made. So let's congratulate them. Let's be nice to veterans. And as always, every day is Veterans Day for me, but let's be nice to a veteran and get some blankets and warm clothes for next week. It's supposed to be chilly, so don't get to wrap those plants and cover up the flowers.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Jones. I know Councilman Godfrey was unable to be with us this evening, but she did send a message. She says, please let the people of Dublin know that I thank them so much for re-electing her to this position, and she is ready to continue working for this team and for this city. So congratulations to Councilman Tess Godfrey on her re-election. Councilman Colby, you also were re-elected on Tuesday, so you have any comments for us this evening?
I do have a few. My aggression may be misconstrued because it's actually excitement. I'm very thankful that this election season is over. Tess and I are excited to be back in these seats serving our community, and we're also thrilled to welcome Brandon Chain and get that new voice on board as of January. We're very grateful for the community support so that we can continue working for you. What I heard tonight is we're doing a lot of work and a a lot of work for a little bit of money because we have grant money that's paving our streets. We've been able to rezone some property right there on Miss Jacqueline Street to residential housing. We need to increase housing in our community. We're protecting property values with buffer zones and fence regulations. And we did a full rollback tonight to give you more value for your money. And think about all the things that you're getting for that: wastewater, gas, sanitation, city parks, roads, and public safety. So a lot of value there for your money. When we voted yes tonight for YKK's expansion, we are saying yes to a $50 million investment in our community, $250,000 in additional revenue and property of tax revenue for our community, and higher paying jobs. I'm really excited about YKK's investment in our community. And I'll give a shout out to Peyton tonight because he's going to be starring again in another community theater event, November the 14th and 15th, in Best Christmas Pageant Ever. I will be there. I've got 20 tickets if you want to come with me.
All right. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Councilman Colby. All right, Councilman Griggs.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank everybody for coming and echo what everybody else has had to say. Have a great week.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Griggs. Councilman Smith.
Too, thank everyone for coming. As said earlier, Ward 2, we're getting a lot of streets paved. I think we got 11 streets on the list, so kudos to Ward 2. We're getting a lot paved. I won't be here next meeting, but I do want to say that what's going on in the government with the SNAP program not being available right now. If you know anyone looking for Thanksgiving dinners, you got Paula's Fried Chicken, and also we're doing free dinners at Lessons Lounge on Thanksgiving. So please share and let everyone know they can come by and get a free meal. That's all I got. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that, Councilman Smith. Councilman Mascara.
I go with everybody else has said that's positive. Thank you, Mr. Griggs, for your explanation, and glad our Development Authority is taking the assets that we empower them with to do good for our community. I also want to tell Sarah and Tess congratulations, and Brandon. I hope, as I'm leaving, I hope that this council continues to do the good things that it's done over the last 4 years. It's evident everywhere you look, and I'm proud to have been part of it. And I'm glad that we'll see some fresh ideas, and hopefully Sarah and Tess will continue to beat the pavement and push for community beautification. And I've been proud to be here, and I'm looking forward to what y'all do over the next 4 years.
Well, you still have a few meetings left.
I think it's 3.
You got 3
I'm not
meetings
counting.
left. All right, so you're not out yet. All right, thank you for those comments, Councilman Mascara.
And look, and I will say this: I hope I continue to serve our community. I'm just glad that we're moving in the right direction.
All right, thank you for that. Mr. Powell, any comments?
Yes. Speaking of Veterans Day, on Tuesday, Riverview Golf Course will be offering free golf to all veterans. Just bring your government ID card on that, and we'll get you a free round. Hopefully, the weather holds out for us. And bring your jacket. Make sure you don't mess up your golf swing with your bomber jacket. Madison Street, I'm glad to say, is mostly completed. There are a few little punch list items they're going to be working on that we've identified just yesterday. But we will be having a final bricklaying ceremony on Thursday, November 13th at 11 a.m. And then we're expecting to open the road shortly thereafter. So it'll be completely open at that point. We'll be glad to get that one behind us, Council.
All right. Any other comments?
That's it.
All right, great. I want to, I know I started the meeting by saying congratulations to the 3 candidates who were elected for this next term as at-large candidates. I also want to say thank you to the candidates who qualified and ran a good race and didn't get elected, but put their names out there, because it requires people to, to take that leap of faith. You can feel very exposed and vulnerable because you're basically putting yourself out there and seeing what the community is going to say. That's not easy to do, but our government doesn't function unless people are willing to step up like that. So for all the candidates who maybe didn't make the final 3, I think you all ran a good race. It was clean, it was fair, and it was great to see the democratic process in action. So thank you for stepping up, for that opportunity for public service. And if you are interested in doing it at that level, then there's always something else for you out there too. And if any of you want to try to do something else with the city, just come and talk to us. There's plenty of boards. There's plenty of other ways to serve. So hope to see you participating in other ways. I feel like that we're going in a good direction, and we've got a good team. I feel good about Brandon coming on board. We had a meeting earlier today. He's already got some ideas that he's talking about, and I think that we have a good town. We're facing a lot of difficulties right now. Everybody knows some of the issues that are going on, but we're a community, and we're friends and neighbors, and we're going to pull through this, and everything's going to be fine. We just got to keep focused on the things that are important for us as a city: safe neighborhoods and good jobs. It's pretty straightforward. So we keep those basic things in mind, and we're going to be just fine as a town and just fine as a community. Thank you all for coming tonight. This meeting is adjourned.